Happy New Year. Welcome to East Coast DNA. This is our first episode of 2023. Maybe a day late, but we're still here anyway. And with us today is Liam Hodder.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And I'm Andrew, and this is Darcy.
Yes. Well, we should actually, every episode, we don't fumble it, but it's a little different. We should just pre-record it.
But then it's boring
with the Darcy and Andrew.
I'd rather listen to me fuck it up every time.
Yeah, that's true.
I had to make sure we're 7 seconds in before I said fuck, because YouTube is going to start blocking things with their swearing in the first 7 seconds of the video.
Rule for censorship.
Yeah. Is that how that works?
Yeah, they're not going to monetize it. Not like we're monetized anyway. We're about 900 subscribers and about 9,000 hours of video time away from getting monetization. So we can swear all we want.
There you go.
What the shit they going to do about it? Yeah, we have Liam with us today.
Liam, you have a new album in the works, but I'd like to hear a little bit about your history there too.
Yeah, man.
So you started pre-COVID.
Yeah, just before COVID.
So at that point, you release an album.
Yeah,
and then you got really, really busy when everyone else was slowing down.
Yeah, so we started just before COVID. Like, I had maybe 2 songs out, and then COVID happened. Everything locked down, the early stages of 2020, and I had like 2 songs out. So I was like, all right, well, we'll maintain some momentum here. So in between all the lockdowns and every opportunity that we had to record, me and Blossom Complex, who's my head of production within Ibex and my personal producer, we'd link up and we'd lay some tracks down. So we always had something kicking around in the vault to just kind of remain relevant. And it was also a blessing because, like, we were fortunate in the sense that we could still be working while everybody else was just kind of like taking this opportunity to have a bit of a justified hiatus.
Is that where some of your lyrics talking about being on Pogie and getting to the studio, is that kind
absolutely
of
man.
A riff on reality?
Yeah, big time. And in kind of the way it kind of worked out was also just like by absolute fluke. So I was unemployed at the time that I started. I was between contracts, and I was like, okay, well, I was on unemployment. We were just like, man, I'm not going to have this opportunity again, likely, to really grab it by the balls and go at it. So I had a 4-month break, and I was like, fuck it, like, let's just start making music. So that whole, like, we were on Pogie. I was on Pogie. I didn't actually call Lil Freeze's boss and tell him that he quit, but I'm sure he wishes that I did some days.
Can you call my boss and tell them that I quit?
Fuck yeah, send me the number after this.
911.
Yeah.
So did the Ibex company form at the same time, or was that pre-existing when you started doing your own rap as well?
Yeah, so when we started, I started, and I just kind of wanted a name to go under, like something that was catchy. My taste in catchiness might not be like the most catchy, because I started under Dapper Redneck Records because, like, I live out in the sticks. I'm a hick. I'm always ripping 4-wheelers, doing all kinds of that shit. And everybody's like, all right, it's a little different for a rapper to be at. And we kind of realized that, like, especially if you look in the States, like, the term redneck has become synonymous with racism.
Yeah.
And if we want to expand as a label, we kind of kneecap ourselves by making something that's so niche to just me. I didn't want to be associated with any discriminatory bodies whatsoever, and we wanted to make something that was a little more open and broad in the spectrum, that we could bring other artists on board, and then they would still feel like something they belong to. So that's where the term Ibex came from. IBEX. It's the largest, most aggressive species of goat, and as you know, goat and hip-hop is the greatest of all time. So that was kind of the name, and we're also just fortunate that it's a 4-letter word that sticks in your head really easily, looks really good in block letters, and just sounds good. So that's what we went with.
So in a roundabout way, you're named after MCA from the Beastie Boys.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you, at one point, had an Ibex podcast as well? Because I did see a note that you're planning on bringing it back.
We did, yeah, and we are bringing it back. We recorded 2 episodes already.
Awesome.
So I'm just mixing them. Blossom Complex used to do all the mixing and the editing for those podcasts, but on top of being the head of our production, doing a lot of mixing and mastering for our artists and various other artists within the city, it was a lot on their plate. So yes. I'm taking that on. And I do all of our video editing, so honestly, it's the same thing minus the fact you just don't have to look at this face, which honestly is a plus for most people.
That is a lot of time consuming stuff as well.
Like, we know
ourselves because that's what we're doing.
That's what we do. Yeah.
It's why this episode's a day late, actually. So
yeah,
there you go. But you're doing your rap career, the business, podcast, and they all kind of correlate in some way.
Yeah.
They're like you're full tilt going through COVID and you continue to release new singles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a second album.
And a second album. Yeah. We dropped Off My Chest in early 2021. And just kind of continued dropping music after that, rolling up to where we are now. I was kind of like, that's how we got the name. I've been off the radar for the better part of 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. I suppose that the time adds up really, really quick.
It does, man, but you don't notice it when it's passing. Like we're like, all right, we'll drop this single here. We'll drop this single. And, we got all these shows in amongst all this. And the next thing you know, it's like, man, we haven't dropped an album, like a body of work in 2 years. Like we should probably do that.
I was supposed to say you said that you did it last year, but that is 2 years ago. That's
man. Well, that's it, right? Like 2022 didn't even happen. It just flew by.
Yeah.
And getting into the end of 2022 and leading up to this year and this interview and the album coming out, you did a social media promotion there too. I saw we were doing little sneak peeks of the tracks every day, like right through the whole. It's 18 tracks, right? So it was 18 days.
Tracks. Yeah.
And do you get a lot of new people finding it out through that way, or are you riling up your old fans?
A little bit of both. There were some days where like the first week, like the first 7 days, it was just a clip of the track. They were all about 15 seconds. And because if you look at the pattern of like what does well algorithmically on Instagram and such platforms, Instagram, TikTok, through Reels, videos under 15 seconds tend to do the best. They're favored by the algorithm. So I was like, fuck it, we'll just make all these videos under 15 seconds. But my engagement per post wasn't doing so well. So I was like, okay, well, we'll start adding in little skits, or I'll just talk to the camera for something. And anytime that I would do something that was like kind of funny, as opposed to just like, hey, this is my song, listen to it. I noticed that I was getting a lot of engagement outside of my followers, and they'd be following, they'd be interacting. So it was a mixed reaction amongst followers and new followers. But overall, it pushed my engagement for a lot of my other posts really well. And I noticed that there was like, because I do tracking with everything through pixels, I noticed there was a huge curve in people who were coming from my social media, not necessarily followers, that were listening to my music through Spotify and Apple Music. So it helped, but in weird ways that I didn't predict.
Yeah, that's actually,
it's so,
might steal some of those ideas.
It's so hard to guess how the algorithm is going to pick up anything. It's just
right.
And by the time you figure it out, they just flip it over. It's totally different. So
yeah. Oh yeah, the algorithm's always changing. It's really hard to like figure out how to wrestle it and like make it work. But as long as you're making good content, I find they'll find a way to make it work for you.
Maybe that's my problem.
It's the quality, not the quantity.
Yeah.
So speaking of that quality, you do have that new album coming out. As of anyone listening to this episode, because it's coming out a couple days from when we're doing the interview, it'll be Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So, and you selected that because it was Friday the 13th, or because it's my birthday?
Because it's your birthday.
Thank you.
There
we go.
Absolutely.
So what would you like to tell people about the new album? I know you got some guest artists on there as well. And
man,
I believe in some of the other media and press that you've been doing, there's an insinuation it's got a little bit of a different vibe to it than some of the other tracks you've released in the past.
big time. There's a lot of different, like, I know it's very cliche to say, but I feel like there really is something on here for everybody. And whether that's going to work for me or against me, I guess we'll find out on the 13th. But there's all kinds of different stuff. If you listen to the Laid Off LP, I was very like not into the auto tune, trying to find my sound, but like ixnaying things that I was like, I won't do this. And then on this album, and even I was kind of like that on Off My Chest too. And then on this album, Frieza and Blossom Complex were both like, man, just try it. And like you can hear it if you've listened to the single Retail. Like I lean into the auto tune a little bit there, and there's a couple other tracks where like I even try singing, which is very out of the norm for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, all kinds of different stuff. There's some storytelling. There's some more sensitive content on there. Just a bunch of different sounds, different topics, subject matter, deliveries, and there's some soft tunes, some hard tunes. There's some lyricism, storytelling. I think there's something on there. As long as you appreciate the work that an artist puts into something, I genuinely think that somebody's going to find something on this album that they'll enjoy.
Yeah, and I know from listening to your back catalog too, like there was diversity in the like the albums flow well.
Yeah,
but like,
thank you.
A song like Plague is really heavy in the bass, which
big time.
I enjoyed that as well.
Nice.
I'm not embarrassed to say that to the people that know me for listening to folk music. It's I like everything. But yeah, that one stuck out because that was a heavier, aggressive song.
Yeah.
And then you have other songs that are more, may I say, pop leaning, like more radio
big time.
Like I mean, lyrically these days, Andrew talked about censorship a little. It's
radio
play doesn't worry about censorship as much as they would have back in the day.
No, big time. There's a lot more leniency for that.
Yeah, for sure. So with the promotion for the new album, do you have you had a couple singles that were released already that are included on the album. So do you have a new single that you're promoting now that the album's coming out, or a music video or anything coming out?
I've still been pushing Retail, just because
it's
like thank you. And like my mentality is like every song is new to somebody that's never heard it before. And we've been building a lot of content around Retail. I was in the Studio 204 with Nathaniel Cole just last week, so we shot a video for Retail, a performance video. And I've been using bits of that for running up some of the promo for the album. And I think Retail kind of gives like a good leg for the album to stand on, because it does show like how different this album is from previous bits of work. And also there's that last verse in there, which is just, it's just my preferred style. It's just straight up delivery, no harmonics, no melody, no auto tune. Like if I'm listening to rap, it's a lot of old school stuff where it's just bars, flow and rhyme schemes, and just that's what I like. That's what I enjoy. But I still have a great appreciation for the melodies, the auto tune, and a greater appreciation for that now that I've kind of played with it and see that, okay, no, it's not a crutch that people lean on, like it's a tool people utilize.
The podcast did that for me. Maybe Andrew a little bit as well. Andrew's a little bit more, he's the musician out of the two of us, so he's a little bit more lenient in that. But as a fan, the auto-tune stuff, like I remember Cher, I'm like, why would anyone want to use that as a tool? But I've interviewed several people that lean heavily into auto-tune now, and I kind of got more of a feel. Nowadays, I consider it more like having an effects pedal for your guitar.
Yeah, instead of being when auto-tune first came out, it was kind of a crutch, but then people realized don't use it as a crutch, use it as an instrument, and it became something different, and it's being utilized what I feel is appropriate now compared to when it first came out. It was just the same every time. So.
No, I agree completely.
And are you guys making like your own beats in-house?
Yep. Everything that you hear that comes out of Ibex is 99%. The production is in-house. All of our videos, for the most part, are in-house. Like everything we try to do in-house. Keep the costs down and we'll do it all for our artists to the best of our ability. And if we can't do it to a level that they're going to be happy with, then we find a route to outsource it to somebody that does it at a more professional level.
Are you doing this on PC, or are you doing it with like external drum machines and stuff? Like, do you have
the production?
Yeah. Or you're creating your beats and stuff. Are you doing that on your own?
Yes. So all of our production is done for the most part on Logic, which is an Apple DAW.
Yeah.
And Blossom Complex, who's my good friend and my producer, is our head of production within the label. They handle 99% of the production. We're working on a production wing just to delegate some of the tasks, and especially in like the post-production side of things, like a bit of the mixing and mastering. But yeah, I can walk you through a bit of Blossom's process to like the most of my understanding. I'm technologically challenged. I'm not the smartest person behind the keys, but Blossom works with Logic, uses a lot of different splice samples, but also comes from a composition background. So when Blossom first started coming up as a producer 13 years ago, they were getting into it, doing classic composition, like composing classical music for the art scene, and also trying to do music for like film and video, and then moved to Halifax and got into music business through NSCC and tapped into the hip hop scene and realized that there's money to be made there, just selling beats, and then started running recording sessions, and that led to us linking up, and now we've got our hand in a little bit of everything.
Perfect.
So
yeah. And that background does play into the hip hop,
huge
hip hop music too. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Andrew and I, we tend to lean towards fashion that would suggest alternative rock, and that tends to be a lot of our playlists. But growing up, we were heavy into rap, which probably a lot of the old artists that you were listening to yourself as well. So
yeah,
we definitely have the appreciation for it. And Andrew, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. Andrew's been dabbling a little bit on the side.
I have
music too, so
I've been
a little bit up there.
Unable to play guitar for more than like 5 minutes at a time. Health things, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I started dabbling in electronic stuff. So that's what I was kind of curious what you were using. So
yeah.
I noted a difference in his interest in the questions now versus a year ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's because he's dabbling in it a little bit. So
nice
little promotion.
If anyone wants to check it out, it's Red 4 is the name.
Find it on Bandcamp as well. Right?
Red 4.
I'm gonna scribble that down. Letter 4 or number 4? The letter 4.
It's spelled out 4. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna write that down.
We don't talk about it on the podcast. I find about it because I follow him on Bandcamp.
Yeah. That's the first time I mentioned it. It's only been a couple months though. We're good.
Yeah. No, I've been following it. I'm one of your fans out there.
Yeah.
Nice.
I even have another alias, so he might not even know that it was me.
No, I know it was you.
So Liam, your album's coming out this week. Do you have any concerts coming up in the area or anywhere in the East Coast, actually?
Not immediately. So I go back to work away. That's all I can really elaborate on it.
Sure.
I go back to work out of country on the 20th.
Does
over
the
holidays.
Have Cartel in the name by chance? You're also
secret agent.
Similar letters.
Yeah.
Similar letters, different arrangement.
Yeah.
But so I got home on December 10th. So that put me right in the middle, getting ready for Christmas. Holidays, you got 2 weeks that nobody's around. It's impossible to book any shows. Now there were some people I was talking to trying to line things up, but it just kind of fell through over the holidays. People weren't getting back, and we don't have enough time to promote a show. So now I will be popping up at a few shows over the next few weeks, just making his appearance as a fan. I'm going to be at the O2K show at Monty's Show Bar in Dartmouth. So if anybody's listening, they should definitely check that out. It's going to be a good show. It's O2K, someone from Scotia, T Fleek, all really young artists in the local hip hop scene. Definitely worth coming out to show some support. Blossom Complex will be DJing that. And Level 8 is doing, I think it's DJ it'll come to me later. But they've been they're going to start putting on shows on Saturdays there featuring local artists.
Cool.
So I'll be there Saturday, and if anywheres where there's local hip hop, you can pretty much always find me. I try to pop up as much as I can.
And speaking of that, in listening to your albums and singles there, the lyric that you had about trying to come up in the local scene,
yes,
and then you kind of spit back at the hypothetical person you're talking to, name 10 local artists. So can you do that for us? And when I'm building our companion playlist for anyone listening, you can go love it on YouTube, possibly Spotify. We haven't done one on Spotify for a while.
Okay.
But depending on what content we find, we'll have a companion playlist linked at the end of this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to keep going. I'm not good with numbers, so I'm just going to keep going. Stop me when we hit 10. But some of my favorite artists in the local scene right now is my homie Paulo 13, Frantic, Kid Coffin. We got Shift from the 902, Lil Frieza. Obviously, you got the great Aquaculture. You got Ghetto Socks, who's another OG, fantastic lyricist. Shay Pitts is coming up right now. She's fantastic. You got Jaden Austin, my homie Breezy.
I'm going to let you keep going.
Yeah, man, I will keep going. We got Mackie, who I see you're running the merch right now. Mackie's fucking dope, and putting on a fantastic amount of effort in Central Nova Scotia right now, in New Glasgow with the studio, Mackie's mobile studio. We got Wave Lord, who's another fantastic artist, Halifax based from Nassau, Bahamas. Jay the Kid, who's also New Glasgow based. You got Turf. Who else we got? We got Twister. Obviously, you got Quake Matthews. You got Classified. Some of the other OGs, Word Burglar. Who else we got? Yeah, man. Like the list goes. Oh, Badfish, obviously. Young Blonde Don. Yeah, man. Like our local hip hop scene's crazy.
It is crazy.
Fleet, someone from Scotia. Like, and I always say to people, like, if you look at Toronto, which is viewed as like the hip hop capital of Canada, like, sure, they have a lot of artists who are really good, but like per capita, like nobody's touching Halifax or Nova Scotia as a whole, man. Like all of these artists that I'm listing are dope, and have every possibility and all the potential to make it. I truly believe, but I also feel like we just don't take it as seriously, and nobody else outside of Scotia takes us as seriously. So we don't have the platform, unfortunately. But I genuinely believe that Scotia as a whole has more talent per capita in the hip hop scene than anywhere else across the country, hands down.
We found that in the summer, probably primarily through talking to Mackie and knowing Mackie, because they're just from Westville here anyway. So nice and close. But we had tons of rap content throughout the summer, and even going into Music Week. I mean, if some of those people that you mentioned had expressed some interest, and we just were not able to connect. So there's probably a good chance there's going to be a lot more of that content coming later in the year as well.
Nice.
And a few of those people we definitely featured on our playlist, and as some old rap fans here on the show too, like Word Burglar, somebody I was definitely familiar with over the course of his career. A few of those names actually. So there's so many. It really is hard to keep up.
Big time.
Anyone listening to this podcast, we will have a few for you to listen to, and be sure to keep an eye out for those names. And on social media, you follow a couple of those artists, and you're going to see shows popping up.
Oh yeah,
especially getting into the spring and summer months.
Yeah, big time.
So before we play out, where can we find you online? What's your most prominent social media way to communicate to your fans?
My most prominent social media is Instagram. I've been trying to get bigger into TikTok and Facebook, just more consistently posting on Facebook. But you can find me everywhere's Hodder Music, all one word. And I've pretty much claimed that username on every platform. So you can, if I'm on there, it's Hodder Music.
Awesome.
And where would people find your album on Friday morning when they go looking?
Friday morning, it's going to be everywhere. Your best place to find it, hit the hyperlink, which is the link in my bio on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anywheres. I'll have ads running. But if you're just looking for it, just type in Hodder, HODDER, on any streaming platform. You'll see me. I'm the dude with the beard looking there with all the lights around me. That's me. That picture was taken by Nathaniel Cole. Shout out to Nate. And yeah, so you'll find me. That's me with the beard.
And it's Sorry I've Been Off the Radar?
Sorry I've Been Off the Radar. Yeah. Yeah.
And the off is in every one of your titles. That's
off is in it. You caught that. I'm glad somebody finally picked that up.
It's not really on purpose, or is it on purpose? Or
it wasn't on purpose, and then we pointed it out, and we were like, all right.
And then it worked.
I guess we're just gonna roll with this. It might become a branding thing at some point. I don't know. Right now it's not, but it might be a branding thing.
I believe I saw a little tidbit too that you have maybe other stuff coming out beyond this release. So everyone should definitely not just check out your social media, but follow your account, because there's going to be a rollout of content throughout the year.
Yeah, summer's going to be insane. That's what can I say about that without going too deep?
Maybe you have to come back on for an update in the spring.
I might have to. If you guys would have me, I'd be happy to come on. But I can tell you, summer's going to be crazy. I'm working on something that I just want to contribute to the local hip hop scene and make a massive impact. And so that's what I'm working on right now. And if there's any OGs in the scene that are watching this right now, please hit me up, because one of my big things is trying to work with the guys who paved the way for the culture and for the hip hop scene. And we're trying to get as many of them stacked up on tracks and just create an absolute monster. That's a separate project, but
find the boys from Hip Club Groove.
They
were based out of Truro.
Yeah, man, they were wild. They were wild. Yeah. I stumbled upon one of their tracks. It'll come back to me. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine who's kind of like a local hip hop historian. And we were listening to one of their tracks not long ago.
I don't know if Corey's still around, but he was, because he was doing Trailer Park Boys. But I know he also was doing theater in Toronto, and he was teaching down at Acadia. So he's busy man.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say to the fans out there before we let you go today?
No, man, like if anybody's been following me along or just kind of hopped on in the last few months, I appreciate you kind of dealing with the fact that I haven't been dropping as frequently as I would have liked to have been. I have been off the radar. This album is my way of apologizing for that. And I hope it makes up for the fact that I've kind of had a lack of presence. We've been doing a lot of 18 tracks.
These days, that's a lot for an album.
That's a lot. And I brought a lot of stuff in the background too. Like if you look at, we brought Kid Coffin back at a hiatus. So progress only comes with patience. Project Toxic, which is dropping January 24th. We've got Lil Frieza mixtapes. The Black Widow album by Frantic, we did the distribution for that and started streamlining that. So there's been a lot of stuff that I've been doing in the background of this to just try and create a platform that we can launch music from. I just haven't been launching my music from it. So that was my fuck up, but we're back. So
well, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year, and definitely further on. I know ECMAs are in Halifax this year. So maybe there'd be an opportunity to hook up around that time too.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully, as long as my schedule lines up, you can count that I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
And if anyone's looking for us online, we made it easy for you. Everything's in that LinkTree link down below. If you're in the show notes or on YouTube in the description down there, find us there. Our Discord is still treading water. We have the Discord. We have one. It's not. No one's joining it, but it's there.
Me and Andrew have private chats on Discord.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Nice.
But it is there. We have the Facebook group. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We don't really do much on Twitter either, but it's
Twitter
there.
Will be gone in the next 2 years.
Yeah. I'd say that's an accurate prediction.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to find us, click on LinkTree, find us down there, and we're going to play it with Retail. And we'll see you all in a couple weeks.
Thanks.
Keep rocking. I don't think the Keep Rockin's working.
Racks on top of racks just like it's retail. Y'all been working hard on getting me tail. Cause the algorithm loves your hater comments. If you got nothing nice to say, then
Blossom.
Racks on top of racks just like it's retail. Y'all been working hard on getting me tail. The algorithm loves your hater comments. If you got nothing nice to say, then make sure that you drop it. Racks on top of racks just like it's retail. Y'all been working hard on getting me tail. The algorithm loves your hater comments. If you got nothing nice to say, then make sure that you drop. Dodging all this shit, I just bring daylight where I'm walking. I'm a fucking ray of sunshine, rainbow ending in my pocket. That's my pot of gold. Skydiving out space Teslas and you Hefner's road. I wanna see the glow. I bet it's the best that let them haters know to drop it. This momentum fucking ape shit like the Carters know we flaunt it. Yeah, we got that hoe. Always do the most, yeah, like I'm the GOAT. I never sold my soul. Racks on top of